question from a lot of people about remedies and their miasms, and especially how do you find the miasmatic landscape within a remedy. And many people have wrote there are lots of discrepancies between various authors on what miasm a remedy belongs to. So how do we understand that? So what I've done today is I'm going to give you the example of pulsatilla, and we're going to actually dissect and find the entire miasmatic landscape of pulsatilla. Now you have to remember, most well-proved remedies, which have been, you have expansive provings where you have information at all 4 stages, can be used as anti-miasmatics across all 3 approaches, the Hahnemannian, the Kenton, and the Sycosis, right? So that's one. So you do not have to restrict to just the nosodes. Nosodes are great. They're specialized, wonderful anti-miasmatic remedies, but any remedy, a polycrest remedy, can be used as an anti-miasmatic. And I'll show you how, and I'm going to take the example of pulsatilla here, all right? So let's look at first Hahnemannian way of using pulsatilla, the Hahnemannian miasmatic way. So if you go and look into the Mathematical picture of pulsatilla, you will find that you go and look into the modalities and the causative factors. You'll find it has never been well since anemia, never been well since puberty. Then you can find some bad effects from quinine, from abuse of iron tablets, and suppression of menstruation. And then you can find bad effects from suppressed measles and gonorrhea. So this is very important. In Hahnemann's miasm, remember, you have to find a never been well since syndrome, and pulsatilla has quite a few points of sources and causative factors here. So how do you go and study? So say, for example, we're looking at measles, and we're looking at what is the picture of the never been well since syndrome of measles in pulsatilla. So what I've done is I've opened my software here and I've put in Quest, and in Quest I've put in measles. So we're going to get all the remedies that have a top activity around the measles, and never been well since measles or issues around measles, and the picture of measles in pulsatilla tops the list, which is not surprising. Now if you look at all the different measles issues, you will find that a pulsatilla has never been well, issues around the eyes during measles, and even after measles you have issues around the ear. So we're looking at sort of after measles here. So you have headaches, pains in the head since measles, you have inflammation in the eyes and lacrimation and weakness and dimness of vision after measles. So this is the picture you're looking for: discharges, obstruction and stopped sensation in the ears after measles, hearing impaired, nose bleeding. This is in measles, but look at this: involuntary urination after measles. So you see, we have a whole list of complaints, cough, issues around fever, which have never been well since measles. So apart from the morbillium nosode, which is the measles nosode, pulsatilla has a similar action or even complements the action of morbillium if it doesn't complete the story of the taking away the never been well since syndrome after measles. So you get the point. This is how you go and learn and find out. So if somebody comes, a child comes to me and is constantly having ear discharges and deafness or impaired hearing, or coming with urination and voluntary nocturia after measles, this is the remedy I'm going to look for as an anti-miasmatic according to Hahnemann's way. All right, and that's a beautiful. So eyes and ears are the major focus, the middle ear and the eyes in pulsatilla after measles. Let's look at iron abuse. So I put in iron abuse, and again pulsatilla tops the list, apart from other remedies including ferrum, right? So lots of metals in there, but pulsatilla tops. And you can see headaches after this is the tautopathic thing. A tautopathic has never been well since some form of supplement or some form of drug, a conventional drug, supplemental drug. So they've had anemia since iron abuse. They've had headaches, metrorrhagia, so irregular menstruation. The cycle gets disturbed after iron tablets. If you find this or uterine hemorrhage after quinine and iron abuse. So quinine and iron, they're together because quinine is, for malaria. So if both of them, and it also has an effect on iron. So if there are issues around the female reproductive system after abuse of iron, this is where I will look for pulsatilla, a never been well seen syndrome. So you see, and again, quinine, another thing, top of the list. So if you have face pain, neuralgias, ear pains, toothaches, indigestion after quinine, diarrhea after quinine, look for pulsatilla. So this is a beautiful way of studying, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. When you look at the Hahnemann miasm, you cannot underestimate the non-nosodes, and here it is with pulsatilla. All right, let's now go and look at the Kenton miasms and pulsatilla with the Kenton perspective. So in the Kenton miasm, we have a psoric pulsatilla, a psychotic pulsatilla, and a syphilitic pulsatilla. So I have gone on and looked at all the symptoms of psoric pulsatilla, and these are those, we have changing, shifting symptoms. A lot of dynamic, a lot of changeability of symptoms is very Psora. Weeping, yielding, milder people who change a lot and who weep and express emotions well. Any form of deficiency is also a psoric symptom. And of course, itching eruptions from woolen clothes. This is again a pulsatilla syndrome. So you have about 3 or 4 or 5 key pulsatilla psoric symptoms using the Kenton miasmatic analysis. But look at psychosis. Psychosis is like full on, and that's why it's a dominant psychotic state. So you have ill effects of suppressions of ear discharges, menstruation, lochia after delivery, milk suppressed. So if any form of suppression or any form of abnormal discharge suppression or normal discharge suppression is a very strong psychotic phenomena. One-sided pains, numb pains. So psoric pains are very, very strong and extremely, and all over the place, whereas one-sided numbness, sort of duller pains are more psychotic. Hemorrhages, again, passive, dark, clotty, they're all very, very psychotic hemorrhages. More bright red is more psoric. Any form of varicosity, any form of heaviness, any form of band-aid sensation, pulsations in the body, all very psychotic, whether it's stagnation, whether it's stoppage, and also getting feet wet, any damp issues, damp weather, everything is psychotic according to Kenton miasmatic analysis. And also fatty, rich, heavy food, and they're always better by motion, always better by flow. That is the psychotic pulsatilla. Right, so I've just got into the Fatex Matra Medica, look into the generalities, and we used to do this as students. We used to get 3 colored pens, and we used to go into Fatex Matra Medica after we studied our miasmatic classes and look into the main polycrest and mark all the psorics as yellow and all the psychotics as blue and all the syphilitics as red. And so the remedy which has that color dominance is that dominant miasm. So you can try that, but this is pulsatilla. Again, psychotic pulsatilla mentally, she's better by crying because there is a lot of sadness, and it is all suppressed. And if she cries, she feels better. She craves for sympathy, very suspicious, fixed ideas, or any form of fixity mentally, physically is psychotic. Any form of delusions which are very strong, marriage is a sin, or religious melancholy, or I should eat this food or that food, that is not good for me. All these are psychotic states of pulsatilla. And then syphilitic. Syphilitic is any form of ulcers, destructions, tearing, scraping, destructive pains, and emaciation. Emaciation is also a syphilitic phenomena. Whenever the emaciation is accompanied by any form of neurogenic, say for example there is paralysis and then there is emaciation, or there is metabolic issues and there is emaciation, some sort of wasting diseases, that is syphilitic. So you see there are hardly 4 or 5 Psora, 2 syphilis, but can you see tons of psychotic, and that's why it's a psychotic dominant. So that's Kenton pulsatilla for you. Let's go to Sankaran's pulsatilla. Now in Sycosis pulsatilla, you always have to look at the bigger picture, the family picture of that remedy. Pulsatilla belongs to the Ranunculaceae family, okay? And in that family, the major issue around that family is this extreme morbid sensitivity of emotions. They're extremely on edge. They are one of the most hypersensitive group of remedies. You have Staphysagra in the same family and aconite in the same family. So you get the picture. Then there is vexation, there's mortification, there's disappointments, and one emotion on top of the other. And in pulsatilla, what is, how you differentiate these remedies according to Sycosis analysis is you look at the coping mechanism to these sensitivities, to these sensations. And in pulsatilla, it is all about avoiding that situation. Any situation that causes vexation or mortification or disappointment, a pulsatilla would avoid that. Avoiding is a very psychotic phenomena, or hiding or suppressing and, putting it under the covers. That is a psychotic phenomena. Now, how do you know this is psychosis? You don't have to completely just, go by what the books say. You have to go and do your own research. And I'll show you how vexation is avoided through proving. All right. So let's go and look at how I analyze and find out what is the miasm, because this is important work. And, we'll be covering this in great detail when we do our miasm course in each of them and when we study these remedies. But I'm just showing you how you research. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put vex, because it's an important sort of emotion of the Ranunculaceae family, and we're going to find pulsatilla here, because there are so many remedies with vex. Okay, now in the pulsatilla vexation, we're going to now find out, what do the authors say about the vexation, what exactly pulsatilla copes with it. So let's just go down. There are lots of things. By different authors. Look at Mater Medica. After vexation, this is what Herring's writes, mental depression. So what has happened here is she's depressed after this vexation phenomena. Depression is a very psychotic phenomena. We'll just go and look more into this. Hahnemann writes, hesitates in his speech, it vexes him to have an answer. So when he's vexed, he does not speak. So this not speaking something, suppressing that sort of inward, grief and silent vexation is a very psychotic phenomena. So it's basically there is a lot of hiding and lot of suppression around the vexation. It is not somebody who goes and abuses someone when he's vexed, or goes and, vents out his anger. That is Psora. This inward grief, silence, hesitation in the speech. And that is a psychotic phenomenon. So you see, everywhere there is vexation, what is pulsatilla doing? So Bonninghausen writes about the inward grief. Herring writes about, the mental depression. Hahnemann writes about he hesitates in his speech. Let's see what other authors write about that. Okay, let's go more into Copperwet. What does he say about vexation? Peevish, capricious, though not vexed. This is interesting because, there is a lot of peevishness, there is a lot of capriciousness, but she doesn't express the vexation. So there is no expression. It's like, but there is a lot of capriciousness, a lot of dissatisfaction, a lot of peevishness, but it's never coming out there. What else? LNTF. Satisfied with nothing. So similar to capriciousness and peevishness, yet not vexed. So they never express that they are vexed, but they are constantly, unsatisfied. They're constantly capricious. They're constantly peevish. And that is the pulsatilla vexation. It is never out there in the front abusing, or it is never like, aconite, completely losing their mind and completely terrorized or completely out of their state, which is a very acute phenomena, very trembling, anxious, panic, and, extremes of emotions. That's not pulsatilla. Pulsatilla is all inside, inwardness. That is where we speak about the avoidance, and that is the psychotic in Sycosis. So hope that gives you a glimpse of how you study remedies and how you find out what are the different types of miasmatic, analysis of these remedies. And you have to understand the approach. Obviously, you have to understand the Sanquin's miasmatic approach and the Kenton and the Hahnemannian quite well to be able to find the remedy understanding. But this is a beautiful way of finding a Matromedica. So now you will never forget Pulsatilla, I promise. You will never forget Pulsatilla, when you use it in a Hahnemannian way with a Never-Wellson syndrome, or a Kenton way when you use it for the psychotic part of it, or in the Sanquin's way with avoiding that sort of morbid emotions, avoiding that fear or vexation or mortification or disappointment or grief. Alrighto, so thank you very much. Hope this makes sense. Look forward to your questions and look forward to having you in the course, in the Miasm's course as well. Take care.